Right. Hello, Roy, and welcome to Dad the Influencer. Talking about your discussion the other week on data quality that you gave at the Nottingham Data Science and AI meetup. So to start off, you're a well. Actually, first let's start off just saying hello.
Hiya, Ben. Lovely to meet up with you again.
And great indeed to meet up with you. And yeah, so you're a professor of computer at Leeds. You've spent 25 years doing research that most people outside of academia have never heard of, but affects pretty much every decision made with data. Can you give us a one sentence version of what you do?
Um, just about. So, businesses and organizations, they analyze data for a variety of purposes to find patterns, to make predictions, and provide evidence for decision making. So, in my data quality research, I study the many ways that data can be wrong or just unfit for those purposes and try to make it as easy as possible for people to detect those quality issues by developing workflows and software.
Excellent. And you describe yourself as a teacher and inventor. So I assume that's part of what you're doing with data is that unusual combination, especially for a professor. Um, and what does inventor mean to you in your context? You've commercialized software with is it pronounced Roche?
With Roche, yeah.
Roche with Roche, spun out a company, built tools used in the NHS hospitals. How do you bridge the gap between your academic research and something that actually ships?
So most professors say they research and teach. Now, if we look in the dictionary, research is the systematic investigation to establish facts and reach new conclusions. But I don't stop there. I turn that into tangible new things. In other words, I invent things, such as the Leeds virtual microscope for cancer diagnosis, which is software, and the six-step data quality method, which is words.
So you're bridging the software with your research and your teaching. You put it all together.
Well, the research and what we do, the impact from it makes its way into teaching. But the thing about the inventing things is I go from the research itself to bridge the gap all the way into adoption so that things actually get used, or we set out to get things used in the real world.
Okay, and that's okay, and then that gives you kind of I don't want to sound glib about it, but that gives you something to teach then as well. So you have the research, you have the real world application, and then you're able to teach that rather than just having the research and teaching what the research is on.
Well, university education starts off being teaching students about fundamental methods, like fundamental methods in data science or data quality or data visualization. Um, but the reason students study at universities like Leeds, where I am, is to be taught by real experts in the discipline, and we're experts who not only have, say, developed some of the theory and some of the fundamentals, but also put it into practice in the real world.
Okay, and you mentioned data quality in that as something that you're very much involved in. Sounds like it should be obvious. Good data is accurate, bad data isn't. But you've built an entire research career around data quality. So, what's going on that makes it so hard that it needs this whole career built around it, and in fact, quite a few careers built around it?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, first, it's not as simple as good and bad. Data might be 100% correct, but just inappropriate for a particular use. It's too coarse-grained, or it's out of date, or it's biased. Now, the reason it's hard is if you imagine a very small table of data, um, say 10 columns, and that there might be 20 ways in which each of those values might be wrong. So that makes 200 different, a total of sort of 10 times 20 is 200 ways. Um, and then you think of the combinations of ways of the different variables, it adds up to well over 1,000 combinations. So even if you have a very modest sized data set, doing comprehensive checks of that data can take a long time, and there may not be a ground truth to check it against.
Okay, so and this is dealing with things like what's it called now? Operational blindness. When you if you have to just check over manually, you get that operational blindness issue, um, and also just trying to figure out the data set that you have, is it appropriate for what you want to use it? Is that right?
Uh, yes, when you're checking data for to check that the quality data is suitable for the purpose that you want to use it for, then you have to make some checks at a fairly high level, and then you start going down into a much finer level, for example, to check for patterns of missing values or check for values which are sort of technically correct but are just implausible, like a 3-meter high adult or a 1.8-meter high 3-year-old child.
And this is the why, what, when, and how of data quality. Is that right?
Um, yeah, so I I I do it, well, the why you the yeah, the why you go about checking for data quality, um, on the one hand, you're, wanting to make sure that data is suitable for a particular bit of modeling or analysis that you're doing, um, but,
So is that why the data is has been collected in the first place?
now let me start sort of the answer to that again.
Okay.
Um, if you think about why do you wanna check, uh, data quality before you plunge into doing a modeling and analysis? Well, the first thing is, um, if there is anything wrong in the data, you wanna find that out as soon as possible in case it would invalidate all your modeling. In case you find out, "Oh, actually, I've got data for this, but I need to get different data for that." Um, Even if the data itself is, let's say, suitably correct, and there isn't too much that's missing, you may have assumptions about the data. And so another aspect of why you check data quality is to make sure that your assumptions about the data are the same as the data itself. The what is then what are the checks that you do? And there are actually quite a lot of checks that you should consider doing. And so the when is saying which should you do first, which second, which third, and so forth.
So it's a sequencing of the checks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ultimately to work as efficiently as possible.
Okay. Um and then what's the how of data quality? Is that the how you've collected it, or is that the how you're going to use it?
So the higher data quality is how you go about actually doing the checks. So there are some types of tasks that it's sufficient just to do some sort of calculation. For example, if you want to know about the distribution of data, you might be looking at the percentiles and the extremes as a first round check. And
Yeah.
depending on what they tell you, you may stop there, or you may have to go in more deeply. There are other types of check where actually, especially when you're dealing with very large numbers of variables, that you just end up with so many summary statistics that your head is going to blur over. And that's where visualizations come in. So visualizations will show you some patterns for some things that are wrong, and calculations will show you other patterns.
Okay, and then with that, you've published a practical guide with 62 tasks organized in a 6-step workflow. 62 tasks is a lot, a lot of tasks. Which single most commonly skipped step? What's the single most commonly skipped step that comes back to haunt people, do you think, or steps for that matter?
Um, so I think without a doubt, the answer to that one is assumptions. That is making assumptions but not checking them.
Okay.
Um, because that would mean that. the analysis and modeling that you end up doing ends up being totally wrong, even though the data itself was absolutely fine. It's just that it's structured differently to the way that you thought it was.
Okay, so this would be something like, um, assuming that a parking ticket gets paid all at once, not in multiple payments.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
for example, and so
something like
suddenly if
that.
there were multiple, payments for a given parking ticket, it might, muck up some of the calculations that you were making using database queries or with programming languages or other tools.
Okay, so in the six-step workflow and the 62 tasks, is a lot of that then looking at your assumptions and making sure that your assumptions that you haven't been blinded by your assumptions?
Well, the assumptions, mainly come in actually to the 5th step of all. So, step 1 is just, look at your data, look at the documentation, and is there something that is obviously wrong? So that's a really quick check.
Yeah.
Then you have to check for something called special values. Following that it's only after that in 3rd step you can check for patterns of missing data. Um, and then once you're happy with that and you decide, yes, it's still okay to proceed, I don't need to get extra data, I've got the right coverage, then the way we approach it is we say, first of all, check each variable individually, of which usually there aren't so many things to assumptions to be made there, but
Yeah.
then look at combinations of variable, and that's where the assumptions really kick in.
Okay. Okay, and you've done this with NHS Digital. You've done this with Leeds City Council, Sainsbury's, Bradford Health Research. Pretty varied group of different people. Is there a data quality failure story you can share with it without breaking NDAs or commercial agreements that genuinely surprised you, where the data looked fine, but when you started looking more closely, you discovered it wasn't?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, first of all of those organisations that I have worked with them. Um, they are all very switched on about their data, and they're very aware of the limitations it has, and they take steps to mitigate them. They have their eyes open. But the example I'll give you, it actually comes from Sainsbury's, and it's one that we've published in another YouTube video, visualizing data quality, and that was where. Um, They wanted to be able to analyze shopping patterns in a store, and when they looked at the data, or what they wanted was a method of, checking, certain things were correct about the data.
Mhm.
Um, and when you 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 looked at when things were bought in a given store, the data was saying that lots of things were being bought before it opened. There were lots of different products there. Uh,
Okay.
as soon as they saw that, they went, "Oh, yeah, okay, that'll be where the staff are picking products for online deliveries during the rest of the data." So again, the data was absolutely correct, but basically the data contained two different types, one for online purchases and one for the in-person ones. So to analyze those shopping patterns, um, they they would just need to be filtering out the online transactions first of all.
Because otherwise, you'd be trying to do a brick and mortar shopping pattern analysis based on digital shopping patterns, or half of them would be digital
Or some of them
shopping,
would be. It would
or some of them would.
be adding, at the very least, adding a lot of noise into it. And, this
Yeah.
was we 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 did this example for the video. This is something that people like Sainsbury's are always aware that they should be checking for.
Yeah. And that must be, it must be to a degree quite satisfying to work with organizations that are sort of switched on and have the um, fundamentals down rather than maybe organizations that aren't quite so switched on and need to sort of understand some key concepts before they can really get going.
Yeah, it's but working with those former organisations, people like Sainsbury's, people like NHS Digital, and Leeds Council for that matter, uh is where we're then able to move things forwards for the field of data quality as a whole, rather than just telling, "Oh, well, you just need to, you know, here's data quality 101, some simple steps
Yeah.
to follow."
And you've done electronic health records, which are about as the high stakes can get. What do data quality problems look like in that context, and what's the consequences of getting it wrong?
You can, well, anything, is a quick answer. So, I mean, here are some examples that I've seen, from in personal experience. You know, lots of our body parts come in pairs, and I know a case when the wrong part, left, not right, was named in a record. So obviously that could affect treatment. The NHS app that we have here in Britain is absolutely fantastic. You know, it gives patients access to really detailed information about tests and so forth that they've never had before. But it's like a data dump, very hard to parse and make sense of. So that's a data quality issue. Um, there are lots of inconsistencies in health data, despite the many checks that people do. You know, data's not recorded. For example, ethnicity. We just published a paper on patterns of that, published it in BMJ Open.
That it's not
Uh,
recorded, or it's not recorded consistently.
Not recorded consistently, and it is recorded very well in some parts of the NHS and less well in other parts of the NHS. And you know, not having that kind of data can affect future planning and things like that.
Yeah.
Uh, and lastly, um, data in any organization, the data that's collected will change over time. The organization will be reorganized, and
Hmm.
that then brings a load of extra work for the data scientists who then need to make the different years of data compatible with each other such that, say, a 5, 10, 20-year longitudinal analysis can be done.
Okay, and that would be sort of departmental shuffles that then mean that two things that were grouped separately are now grouped together, and
Yeah, and stuff
that kind of
happening
thing.
at a national level. The way that in Britain the NHS is organised within England, it changes every 10 or 15 years for, you know, for
Uh huh.
well-motivated reasons that may or may not
Yeah.
have the desired effect.
And there's a tendency to think of data as an IT problem, as someone else's job, but your work suggests that it's actually a science problem. And what do you mean by that distinction?
Yeah, I mean, it's anything but an IT problem, assuming that the data haven't been recorded is now available and the systems are scalable enough. Um, the issues in data quality, they arise during the collection of data. They arise due to different processes and priorities of organizations. And the extent to which they are known and the extent to which inequality issues are minimized depends on the perceived cost benefit of doing so. So it goes all the way up to board level rather than an IT problem.
Rather than an IT problem. And it's an IT or a science problem that's fixed with visualization, which is your sort of fundamental positioning is that you're a visualization researcher that got pulled into data quality. And how does visualization change how you investigate data? What can you see in a chart that you can't see just looking at tables and numbers?
So there's a great quote from John Tukey, who's a very famous statistician, saying, "The greatest value of a picture is when it forces us to notice what we never expected to see." And that's where data visualization comes in. So a lot of patterns in data, for example, a lot of patterns concerning missing values in data are very orderly. And that can be because it's correct that certain large values of patterns are missing, or certain groups of patterns are missing at certain circumstances. Um, but what visualization will do will show you whether there are some very unexpected patterns, let's say, in the missingness, or with outliers and so forth.
And you've developed the Viz data quality Python package to put these ideas on the visualization into something solid that can be used. Um, what does your Viz data quality package do that standard pandas or Excel wouldn't be able to do?
So Excel is primarily for calculations with a graphical user interface. Pandas is essentially the same, but with a programming interface. What Viz Data Quality does, and there's about 7,000 lines of code in it, is it makes it trivially easy to generate certain types of visualization that are particularly useful for data quality. And it also does some of the heavy lifting for some data quality calculations.
Okay, and then you talk about some of the benefits and data visualization for explainable AI. Does the Viz data quality address that, or is that done separately?
AI models are based on data. They're trained with data. And so one needs to be, or one should be, doing checks on the quality of the data you're feeding into your AI model before you actually use that data. Um, Whereas explainable AI is trying to understand why the model's not working as well as it could, or it's not working perfectly. You know, it might
Mhm.
be 99% accurate, but that other 1% could be extremely important. Um, but so that's a very different type of thing compared with data quality, but you can use some of the same types of check because you're looking for things that don't fit the main body.
Okay. Um, and so, do you think that the visualization can mislead sometimes rather than clarify? And assuming you do, how do you mitigate that?
So, yeah, let me throw a question back at you. When do statistics mislead us?
Well, it's lies, damn lies, and statistics. I think
Yeah,
is the
right.
how the
And
saying goes
exactly
for
the
quite a bit.
same can be said
Yeah.
about visualization. Um, anytime you're using color, then which colors stand out? Your particular choices of color will affect what people perceive. Um,
Okay.
the axes showing noise instead of a pattern. The list goes on and on. So creating good and helpful visualizations is actually an incredibly skilled job that far few people have the expertise in.
I see. And it's like with statistics, if you want to be disingenuous, you can manipulate it to show anything. Okay, just a sec. Are you still there? Yeah. Do you know why it stopped? So, ask Roy to refresh or join from a regular browser. Oh, are you in incognito? Oh, weird. Do you want to try joining again and see what happens? Right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. And my window is saying that it's uploading.
Does it say a percentage?
Uh, yeah, the percentage goes up and down, anything from 92 to 49.
Okay.
But it's doing something, it hasn't frozen.
Okay, it's doing something. We seem to be recording again. I can see some lines moving back and forth, and we can edit this bit out.
Yeah, sure.
So right, what I'll do is I'm going to pause for a second. I'm going to clap so I know where to do it, and then I'll ask the next question.
Yeah. Okay.
So everyone's rushing to train models and build AI products right now. What's the relationship between data quality and AI? Is bad data just going to be a minor nuisance, or is this becoming existential now, do you think?
Um, Again, I'd say it's not so much bad data, it's inappropriate data. And I think the answer is existential. As you can see, if you read Cathy O'Neill's Weapons of Mass Destruction, it puts some beautiful examples of that, where models were being based on biased data, and being happy with 90 odd percent accuracy, but not checking the systematic errors.
And that's weapons of mass disruption, did you say?
Weapons of Mass Destruction. It's a pop science book, but it's very well written.
Oh, excellent. Sorry, can you give me the author again? Because I'll add that in the notes.
Uh, Cathy O'Neill.
Cathy O'Neill. Okay, fantastic. Um, and there's a phrase, garbage in, garbage out, which, yeah, it's been around for a while now. And has anything fundamentally changed about this in the age of large language models, or is it just the same lesson that we're learning over and over again, do you think?
Um, I think it's the same problem but bigger because, we all know about LLM hallucinations. So we could say garbage in, garbage out, garbage generated, or
Yeah.
garbage in, garbage generated, garbage out.
Yeah. And so it is. So it's the same problem, just scaling up.
Yeah.
Um, and fixable with the work you've been doing on explainable AI, which helps people understand why a model makes decision.
Well, challenging to fix, and this is partly because language models are a type of AI that are very much operating like a black box.
Yeah.
So different types of AI model are um, easier to develop explanations for, but we can do a heck of a lot better than is often done today.
Yeah. And the data quality can affect the explainability, or do you think that's a separate problem?
Um, well, they will be linked because let's say um, the more inappropriate your data is for the modeling you're doing, the more, let's say, quite likely the more noisy the model's predictions. And if the model's predictions are noisy, then explaining those predictions is going to be more difficult.
Going to be harder. Yeah. It's I've been been down a bit of a rabbit hole recently about AI hype and the investment bubble that everyone seems to be think we're going into, um, but also just generally. Um, I also sort of have to remind myself that as amazing as a lot of, particularly with LLMs are, they're still very fundamentally just they're just predicting text, and they're doing that very sophisticatedly, but they are predicting text entirely based on the text that they're given. So, so I guess that is really um, the age that we're in is trying to figure out how can we get the right text to go in so that the right predictions come out, and that is data quality. And as you say, it's not good data versus bad data; it's the correct data for the correct um, for what you're looking for. Would you agree with that?
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. And then if someone's listening who's a data scientist or an analyst who's never formally thought about data quality, where should they start? Where's like the first thing that you'd say, right, tomorrow morning you're going to wake up, this is what you should start doing.
Well, the very first thing of all, I'd say just read the six-step method that we've created because it's only 8 pages long. And
Hmm.
then you'll know what you could do. And then if I can add some other things to do after that, he said, okay, you read it. Well, uh, next time you're at the beginnings of a project, give yourself 1 day to do some of the checks that are in that method, say 3 for each of the steps.
Yeah.
It won't be comprehensive, but you're almost dead sure to find something that you didn't know. And tell your boss what you found out, especially the unexpected things, and then get his or her backing to spend a bit more time, and then make sure you write down what you did and what you found so that next time you can use that as evidence to do more thorough checks from the outset.
Mhm. So so read the 6 steps and then learn by doing, and then you can
Yeah.
really get to know them.
Yeah.
Um,
Record what you found out.
yes. Yeah, okay, so so that you have it for prosperity and so that you can review it and learn from it and build on it.
Yeah. You have a evidence to get the backing of your boss
Oh,
or
okay,
the
so
client to spend time on this because
so
you'll have
do it
the
so you
evidence
could
that it's worthwhile.
teach others and well, teach up or sell it upwards, as it were, to get buy-in to take the data
Uh,
quality seriously. Yeah.
yeah.
And you've developed a checklist approach, kind of thing that pilots use, surgeons use for investigating data. Interesting enough, part of the stuff I've been reading on recently has also been around operational blindness as one of the issues with AI when you're building a lot of AI, where you basically getting AI to do the building for you and you have to review it. You have the same sort of problems that, for example, somebody looking at a airport security scanner has, that they need to basically, they're presented with data that looks good most of the time, but every once in a while it's not going to be. And it's, you get an operational blindness where you stop sort of seeing that. Checklist is one of the ways they do that, particularly with pilots as well. There's a few instances of where pilots and air disasters have happened as a result of that. And they all love a good checklist. So um, why don't data teams use checklists more? Do you think? Where's the resistance coming from?
Why don't they use it? Well, that's because the data quality checklists don't exist. Uh,
Okay.
and in terms of resistance, well, there isn't resistance. It's quite the opposite. So the data scientists who we spent a long time talking to and surveying, um, they want to do more. They're aware of the limitations of what they are doing, but they don't know what to do. They just want something like a checklist or an established process to follow, and that's
Okay.
what the six-step method is giving them.
Okay. So it's just they just haven't had the tools yet. They haven't had the framework to do it, and that's what you're
No,
providing.
and especially not in a, in a simple, short, concise form.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. The Okay, so that answers a good bit of the sort of technical side. Just to finish up a bit uh, on yourself
Alright,
as
I'm
a
still
real
there.
life
Don't know
breathing
what happened.
human. You what?
I'm not hearing you anymore now.
Oh, can you not hear me now? Hello, hello, hello.
Some sort of glitch.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me now? Oh, something happened there. I
I
heard a
can't
big noise.
hear you.
I can hear you, but you
Can you
can't
hear
hear
me?
me. Yes,
If you
yes, I
put your
can hear
thumbs up?
you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't hear you,
Ah, okay.
whoever goes like that.
So, let's see. Do, 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 do. Can you see the
Uh,
chat?
Hang on. No, no, I found the
Oh, can you hear me now?
okay. Uh, say something again.
Yeah, can you hear me? Hello, hello. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Mm, Say keep on speaking.
Hello,
Can
hello.
I
Okay, let's keep
you
speaking, see
could
what
I
happens.
I think maybe you
Hopefully
can
it'll
hear
come
me. I
through
can't hear
eventually.
anything that
Yes,
you're
I
saying.
can hear you. I can hear
There's
you,
something very odd
and
happening.
I
I
can see that.
when I sort of disappeared from camera view, all I was doing, I just plugged a power lead in and turned it on at the mains. So That
Um,
shouldn't have done anything.
is the volume up? Um, have you unplugged a mic or something?
I'm just gonna check. So
Can
the
you see the
dashboard says
chats?
my microphone is working correctly.
So your microphones, your speakers though.
Um,
Can you see the chats?
what about try again. Can you say something?
You hear me? Can you hear me? One, two,
Yeah,
three. One, two, three.
something really funny happened that it turned it it turned to a speaker that doesn't exist,
Ah,
I
okay.
think. Oh, I think I know what it's done. Hang on.
Uh-huh.
I'm just unplugging something else. Um,
Okay, is it still working?
the
You can still hear me?
yeah,
All right, cool.
yeah, I know what happened. It's an external monitor is part of the same docking station, but that monitor's off.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And sometimes it likes to try and send voice through HDMI.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right, cool. Let's go. I'll do that again where I'll be quiet for a second and then I'll do a clap and then I'll go into the next questions. So, Roy, the human being. This is our next questions, getting away from some of the more technical questions. Outside of computing, you're a fell runner, climber, cyclist, writer, photographer, and you made a 400 megapixel photo of the entire lunar cycle. Is there a connection between that kind of obsessive details to outdoors and the way you approach data?
So separate into two things. So the outdoors, that is totally different to my work. That's how I remain sane. But the lunar necklace, that photograph, yeah, I mean the perfectionism I put into that is very similar to the way that I approach data quality.
Mhm.
And I actually had to engineer some lower quality imagery to make the photograph look realistic because the night sky is not black. It's a noisy, almost black, and so into the background image, I had to work out the sort of noise distribution in the real photos and then
Oh,
engineer
interesting.
that into the background I generated. So it was an anti-data quality problem.
Okay. Oh, very interesting. And did you use your 6 steps for that?
No, this was just dealing with the noise.
Ah, fair enough. And what's one question you wish more people would ask about data quality that no one ever does?
Um, what I would say to people to data scientists themselves amongst their colleague is to paraphrase Oliver Twist, please sir, can I have more time to check this data?
Mm.
And that's because there's always a push to get on with the so-called real work, the analysis and the modeling and to skip over these fundamental checks. But if you use the six-step method, you'll find things out earlier, and in the long run, you'll save time, you'll reduce cost, and you'll end up with better results.
And it makes sense. If you paint your house and you just slap a coat of paint over everything, yeah, it will look nice for a couple of days, but when it all starts peeling, you're gonna wish you spent the time sanding and priming and prepping and doing all that. So it's the same with data.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you very much. It's been a very interesting and enlightening conversation. I've got that book that you mentioned. We've also got some links that we'll add in to the podcast for where people can see the 6 step method. Anything else you want to end up or where people might be able to look for more information, either about you or about the methods or the work that you're doing?
Well, they can the the six-step method contains links to some YouTube videos. So the six-step method link is the crucial one
Mhm.
there. And they want to find out more about me. Well, they can Google me. I've got a personal website that has lots of information. And if they want to get in touch about getting help with their data quality, then I run a company called Surprising Analytics.
Fantastic. Roy, thank you very much. It's been a very enlightening talk, and hopefully we'll hear from you again soon.
Great stuff. Thank you very much.